It helps both of you grow your business, and it's not just one-sided. It's not who you know, it's who knows you.
It's such a perfect way, if you're wired the right way as a seller, to bring people together.
Owners of businesses have issues.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Welcome to Building Your Sales Engine. I'm your host, Mark McGraw. Hey everybody, it's Mark here. We're going to dive into today's episode with Sheri Spencer Bachman, longtime friend of mine. She has built up and sold a couple of pest control businesses. Today she is a consulting for the pest control business. One thing I'll throw out to everybody, we talk a little bit about things like pest control and selling business to consumer. But what's interesting is that if you look at everything that we talk about, it actually applies to both business to business and business to consumer as well. And you just got to put the filter on that for both sides of it, and absolutely applies to both worlds as well. So I want you to get a ton out of this episode. I think she's got some great insight on how do you build partnerships, referral partners, strategic alliances, and how do you go generate more inbound leads by having great people around you. And by the way, you also make a lot of great friends. Let's dive into the episode. So welcome to Building Your Sales Engine. I am Mark McGraw, and I am here with Sheri Spencer Bachman, a longtime friend.
Yeah.
I say that, I think, to many of our guests. Thank you for being here. Glad you're here.
Thanks for having me. It's fun to be here.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So we should start by saying we wanted to spend some time talking about strategic partnerships, referral partners, centers of influence, and all of the above. And I think we'll dive into some really good conversations about what makes for good ones, what makes for bad ones, and how do people benefit from having a good partnership. And what we should start with our partnership and how long we've known each other and how we came together. Do you want to tell the story, or shall I?
Sure, I'll tell my memory of the story, and then you can tell yours. How's that?
See how close they are.
How's that? So, gosh, it's probably been, I'm thinking 18 years ago or so.
Very close.
This man just cold called on me and came into my office, and I happened to not be tied up at the moment, and we started talking about the books on the bookshelf behind my desk and the different business books, right? And we had that in common and started discussing some of the different topics of the different books on my bookshelf or my credenza behind my desk. And I knew nothing. I didn't know what Sandler was when you darkened my door. But you know, we just had a conversation and you left, and there was no sales pitch. There was no sales thing, but we stayed in touch, and next thing you knew, I became a client and stayed a client for
off and on.
Off and on forever.
Probably more on than off now for probably it's been 16 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
We trained your daughter.
Yes, and my sister.
And your sister?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, as well as many, many salespeople.
Yes.
And now we have a strategic partnership of our own where we collaborate and help train salespeople.
That's right. And so we'll dive into that. But we have to take a moment on your daughter, Laura.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And this happens actually a lot where people get into our world, and I don't know if it's because of our world or not, but they end up running the business and they end up being in management. And they end up. So where is she today? And on that side of things.
So she started with you when she graduated college and didn't know what she was going to do with her life.
That's right.
And what better thing to do than put your kid through sales training when they don't know what to do with their life, right? And she ended up running my business for me. I sold my pest control business in 2021, and she left the following year, and she now runs another pest control company down in Pensacola, Florida.
Awesome.
And so she's the general manager, president of that corporation, and is killing it.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
They had 60% growth last year, so
wow,
pretty pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
Pretty crazy.
And it's so fun to be in this business and to see people grow and develop. And it's been a theme actually on a number of the podcasts and none of the episodes that we've had where that occurs. So Sheri, so you and I have had. So when you and I met, we started doing some training together, and you became a fan and believer in Sandler. I put those words in your mouth.
No, total fan and believer in Sandler because it wasn't the pushy selling. It was just conversational. The whole selling to pain, the upfront contract, all that stuff. It's like, God, this is just so easy. It's a system, right? And it's an easy system. It's not hard to learn, and it's not hard to implement, and it's not hard to teach others.
Yeah, that's great. It's a reliable, proven, transferable system for sales. And by the way, you mentioned something I think that's pretty cool, and that is that sometimes when people think about systems, they think that they have to be really complex and that you have to super adhere to every single thing. And that's one of the things that I think has been cool is Sandler is adoptable and adaptable to so many different ways of selling. Yours is in the pest control space,
right?
For sure. And your business today, for the listeners, and tell everybody what you're doing.
So I now coach other pest control companies on how to grow their business. And part of that is working with the owners and helping the owners with the issues the owners have. But the other part of that is collaborating with Sandler and having Sandler in to help do sales training for other pest control companies, because we're kind of unique in that the typical residential pest control sale is about a 5-minute conversation. And so becoming to your words of being adaptable, the Sandler system, we've been able to adapt it to that 5-minute conversation, but we've also been able to take the Sandler system to business-to-business type selling, where it is a longer period of selling over 7 months or 12 months or 2 years or whatever it takes to get that client, and the same principles and the same system can be applied that are applied to that 5-minute phone call. So we did a lot of adapting and figuring out what works.
And that's shifting Sandler from residential and consumer to the business to business side of things.
Yeah.
And you and I have had, since our topic today is around partnerships, referral partners, centers of influence. Maybe a good place for us to start, Sheri, is what do you think makes for a good partnership between, even take our relationship and what we've been doing, but just if you think about all the good partnerships that you've had in your business career, what are some of the characteristics that you see that really stand out to you as making for good partners?
I think the partners have to have similar values. When we talk about good businesses, they all have great cultures. And when my culture aligns with your culture, when our value systems align, it's easier for us to do business. If we both handle our customer experience the same way, if we both respond to our customers, if we're both doing what we say we're going to do, all those things, it makes for a really good, trustworthy relationship. And then there seems to be no conflict. I don't want to refer you if you're going to make me look bad. You don't want to refer me if I'm going to make you look bad. But if we both have that same culture, that same value system as to how we conduct ourselves in our business, then that partnership goes really great.
Yeah. And of course, if it doesn't, we'll
goes
jump
really
to that
bad.
One. It goes really bad. We should talk about some of the bad ones that have been there too. So without a doubt, having good culture and sort of the same business philosophies. Because one of the key ingredients, I think, as people choose and again, I'll keep it all under the same umbrella of a referral partner, a center of influence, a partnership in a figurative sense in that sense. You've got to philosophically be on the same page in terms of how you treat customers, your responsiveness. I just had, this is an embarrassing, not to me so much, but it's embarrassing circumstance where we've just been interviewing marketing companies recently. We reached out to 5 marketing companies, all of which are in the sweet spot of helping our size businesses, some of which we had a referral to. Only 2 of the 5 responded back.
Isn't that crazy?
They didn't even get back to us.
Yeah. And everybody's wanting more business, but people aren't returning calls.
That's right. And these are marketing companies that are designed to
generate leads.
Generate leads.
That's crazy.
And so you would never want someone like that that's just not going to respond. And by the way, the rest of that story is of the two that were remaining, one of them, after a couple of meetings, actually never even gave us the proposal that we were ready to do business on. Maybe it's lack of self-awareness, but I'm pretty sure it's not us.
Right.
I could be wrong about that, but
I don't think so. Well, I experienced the same thing. We just did some home renovations and had people coming out giving quotes for flooring, even took samples home from their store, went back. They came out, measured, told them what we wanted, called 3 times to get a quote, never got the quote. And it's like, then why'd you waste your time sending somebody to come out to the house and measure? Or it just blows my mind. And then others, it's like they're there, they deliver the quote while they're there. They follow up on the quote. And it's like, I'm buying from them just because they did what's expected.
Well, in my case, we had 5 contenders, so to speak, and we are very happy with the one that we chose, but they were also the last person standing.
Yeah.
The other 4 actually didn't. So I think to me, part of good partnerships is, and you said it best, you have to do what you say you're going to do.
Right.
And that seems so 101 basic, but yet we've just both shared some examples where it's far from the norm that you're going to do that, because you cannot embarrass the other partner. It's got to be top rule.
No, because if I refer you and you don't show up, it makes me look bad. So I'm not going to be comfortable referring somebody. I'm only going to refer you once if you make me look bad. I'll never refer you again. So now that partnership just didn't work, right? Where if it worked and you did what you said you were going to do and it made me look good, I'm going to refer you more and more business and vice versa, because we do business the same way.
Yeah, and that's really a large part of what it comes down to as far as culture, trust, doing what you say you're going to do. I think one thing at least I've seen, Sheri, is that you also have to have enough of a symbiotic relationship with this person who's going to be a referral partner, strategic partner, center of influence. And you have to not necessarily compete, although there are businesses that they do compete and they still refer. But at the same time, you've got to have enough what's the word? Symbiotic?
Synergy?
Yeah, one of those.
Or common interests. Like I think you and I bonded initially over the books.
Yeah.
And we both have a growth mindset. And that growth mindset drew us to each other in many meetings because we would be talking about different things. And it's like, well, what if we did this? And we'd get into brainstorming mode and we'd start, ratcheting it up and coming up with different ideas. And I remember we were in a meeting one time and you referred me to Strategic Coach.
Yeah.
And we're both still in Strategic Coach today because of that growth mindset, and it worked out for both of us. It was a great referral for me. Strategic Coach did what you said you would benefit from it, and you were right, type of deal. So
it's again symbiotic in the sense of culture, mindset, and I think business-wise too. You're in a business where we don't compete with what you do. You're and vice versa. We don't compete with you, but it's easy for us to refer each other to one another. And I think that's an important ingredient to it.
Definitely. I mean, I've been through 17 years of Mark's Sandler selling. I know the system. I feel like some days I could teach it in my sleep.
And you can.
Probably. But it is better for me to collaborate with you and have you take on that part of my business and refer those people to your teachings because you're the expert. And it's better to have that expert, or who, as they teach us in Strategic Coach, have a who that can take that on for you, than me coming up with the new materials and all that stuff to teach it. You have all that.
Yeah.
That's your business. Why not use you as a partner for that? And it's worked out great for both of us.
It sure has. It sure has. And it's been a lot of fun too. And I think that's such a benefit that people can get out of finding good partners. And again, I'm using all the terms, whether it's a partner or center of influence or along those lines. I think there really is a spark of ideas that can occur when things go well, and you can make it very easy to refer business. We sparked one together, and maybe you want to speak to it about the program that you and Josh have been working on now for a while as well.
Yes. So as a business coach in pest control, and with that residential sales call being 5 minutes, there's not a lot of training around it. And in the pest control industry itself, the focus for training is on how to perform the service, not how to sell the service.
Not unlike many other businesses too.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then what happens is, well, if you can talk, you should be able to sell something, right? Doing service requires other motions, but if we could talk, we should be able to answer the phone. And if we can talk, we should be able to sell something. And it's not true.
Yeah.
I found that the need was very huge. And like I said, could I teach it? Sure. Am I the best person to teach it? Probably not. There's better experts in that. And of course, the first person I thought of was you. And so I contacted you, and we put together a online cohort, we called it, a 6-week basic Sandler Foundations course geared specifically to the pest control industry for residential sales calls, whether they be on the phone or be in person. And we've been doing this now 3 years, and I think we have trained over 200 people in selling in person. We do them twice a year. And we've done over 200 people. And then Josh and I created an online course taking the recordings and stuff of our training. We recorded some, and then we took some of the recordings from our live trainings on Zoom and created an online course. And so now we have pest control companies buying that online course to go back and refresh their memory on the skills, the mindset training, and all that stuff that Sandler does so well. And then it also is training there for new hires. So it's just keep evolving. It's been fantastic.
And to me, it's so cool. All of that came from, if we go way back in time, it all came back from a cold call. Yeah. But all of that came from the collaboration and a partnership that has been taking place. And that's a lot of stuff that comes out of, if you will, meeting of the minds.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And one thing I think that's interesting to me, at least, Sheri, is that when people think about choosing a partner or choosing an ally or a referral source, one of the things that I think that they should be looking at is think about people who also touch the customer that you touch.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even upstream of your part of the process or downstream. Those are great people to have in your network.
Oh, absolutely. For us, it was the AC guy. You know, if the AC guy finds that rodents are chewing up air conditioning ducts in a crawl space or an attic, you know, who are they going to call? We wanted them to call us. But likewise, if a customer called us for rodents because they were hearing noises and we went into the crawl space or the attic and we saw the AC ducts were chewed up, who are we going to refer? You know, so it became a good partnership. There were mortgage companies, there were inspection companies, there were landscape companies. So you think of other services that would benefit from the same customers you have, and you would benefit from the same customers they have, and how can that partnership come up to where it helps both of you grow your business and it's not just one-sided.
Yeah, and I think as people think about generating more leads for their business and partnerships that can come out of that so that you are generating more leads, thinking about those complementary businesses to your business, what's upstream, downstream, who else is calling on that same customer. To give the B2B example, I came out of factory automation equipment. Mm-hmm. So picture a factory where there's stations that do different assembly jobs. In our case, it was electronics. And so we had a core part in the middle called the pick and place system. But upstream of us, there were the screen printing companies, and there were the transport companies. And downstream of us, there was the soldering equipment and the oven companies. And the longer we were in the industry, the more that we would start to get to know the other salespeople, and they become allies to us. And they might recognize a sales opportunity that they would bring us in, and vice versa. So those are relationships, and that networking with other salespeople calling on that customer, super valuable.
Very valuable. Well, and even in my coaching business, I work primarily with the owners, but owners of businesses have issues. And
really?
Yeah, it's amazing. And one of them's hiring, for instance. Yeah. So I have a strategic partner that I refer to that she does talent acquisitions specifically for the pest control industry.
Oh, perfect.
So now I have her as a strategic partner. And then when she takes on a pest control company, she refers them to me for coaching, because if they're having problems training or keeping that employee engaged, maybe there's a culture problem in the company, maybe they don't have a process set up for training or a process set up for onboarding or different things. So we refer each other back and forth. I've got somebody that does the same thing in bookkeeping. I have somebody that does social media marketing. And so I have like this whole, I call it my toolbox of referrals of people that I've vetted out that run their business similar, that give the same customer service that I can recommend, but also they in turn will refer people to me. So it ends up being a great thing, and it helps me look good in my customer's eyes when I am able to refer somebody that is going to deliver what they need. It's like, wow, that was a great resource. Thank you so much. And so it's making me look better and fulfilling a need for them, and basically helping them out to where, they're not having to go find that person too.
And it's a lot better than doing a search on Google to go find, and which of course it's nice that Google has reviews and all of the stuff, and that helps a buyer feel better. But at the same time, if I refer someone to you or vice versa, that credibility goes a long way in the customer's eyes.
Yes,
in a big way, and they benefit a ton.
Sure.
So to your point, I mean, it's such a it's almost like a triangle where there's in this case there's the referee, the referrer, and then the client. And the fact is everybody wins.
Yes.
When referrals are passed, when there's trust and credibility amongst people.
Yes. And that's the key, the trust and credibility. Because nothing worse, like you said, 5 marketing companies, some are referrals, and nobody called you back. But yet salespeople—
I'm starting to think it's me.
Nah,
the more you're saying this,
I don't know. No, but salespeople—
self-concept here.
It surprises me salespeople complain about leads all the time. I want more leads. I want more leads. Yeah, but you didn't close the last 10 I gave you. How about some follow-up?
Yeah. A little bit of something.
We're all looking for more leads, including the owner who is looking, my phone's not ringing, or how can I help get more leads for my sales team? But the sales team itself has to also be looking at how can I create some strategic partnerships? So how can I cold call? What types of activities can I do to generate leads for myself, because I can't be 100% dependent on the company.
Yeah. And I think that's the case. And I think this is having a good strategic partner and the like is one of many prospecting activities that fill the top of the funnel.
Exactly.
And I don't know that you can solely rely— I guess some people do solely rely on referrals from certain sources. But I would suggest to folks that if they have not taken the time to build those up intentionally, to go out of their way, a simple way that we've shared with people, and if you got thoughts on this, I'd love to hear them. Think of it as the ecosystem of the client. What are all of the different things that they're buying that you're selling into that customer or client? What else do they buy that's related to what you're doing that is in their ecosystem? Sometimes it's software, sometimes it's services, sometimes it's physical products. And see to yourself, okay, what are those companies Do you have some relationships with people that are calling on that same customer, and get to know those people purposefully and intentionally?
Oh, definitely. If somebody refers somebody to me, that company, if they do what they say they're going to do and show up, has a much better chance of me buying from them because they were referred. If it's a referral, it's in. It's kind of like versus me looking on Google and I know nothing about these people, right? And so if I have a referral, I'll buy that way because I trust my friends. I trust the people who are referring. Therefore, I'm going to trust the referral because I would think they wouldn't refer it if it wasn't worthy, right? So that's why that partnership is so important, to be the right partnership.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it comes back to wanting to make that person look good on all fronts. And we've both seen situations where things didn't go as planned.
Oh yeah,
and we should probably talk about that because I think at some point a salesperson needs to qualify the referral partner and the strategic partner to make sure that there are good fits, because way too often people ask for referrals and nothing ever comes from them.
right.
Or if it does come, maybe it's not as happy of a relationship. Any situations that you've found where things don't work out that somebody would want to avoid in a partnership?
Well, I think that in selecting partners, you've got to interview them and maybe do business with them to make sure that it's how you do business and how you would want them to do it. You instead of just, oh, you're in marketing, great, let me refer you to people. It's how are you going to do business? How do you handle your customers? Interviewing them to go through what that looks like. Because like you said, with the marketing people, I can't tell you how many people don't show up and you refer them and they're like, yeah, I've called this guy 3 times. I've emailed him a dozen times. He must be busy, must not need my business, maybe you shouldn't be referring him. And that's a great comment to get from a customer you've referred somebody to.
It hurts.
It's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be referring them. It's like, gee, yeah, maybe I shouldn't. So
it only takes one of those for that to get unwound.
Yeah, and it can hurt your reputation because it's saying you didn't vet them out. And why would you refer either a bad experience or a bad quality service?
We as a seller, so to speak, we need to qualify the partners, and we're qualifying them on how we do business together. Probably another thing that we need to get agreement on is things like when you get an introduction, how are you going to treat that introduction? How are you going to make introductions? If you are going to do an introduction, who are you introducing people to today, and how often does it happen? That's a big one right there.
And can they handle the extra business? Do they want more customers? Maybe they can't. There are companies out there that can't handle more work, and if they've got too many leads, which would be a great problem.
There are people that have that.
But there are people that have that. Then maybe having them as a strategic partner is not a good idea.
And so first off right there, then that's vetting whether or not that person that you're meeting to qualify for a partnership, even figuratively speaking, do they want the business? Do they need the business? Here's one that I see. I've seen a lot of salespeople, probably done this myself, meet with somebody and they think that that person is calling on the same customer, and they are. But what they fail to find out is that potential partner actually already has a very close relationship, and any new leads that come in or new opportunities to refer go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And we as salespeople fail to ask, so when you run into this search situation today, who do you refer business to? Question 1. Question 2, how often does that occur? Because if it happens once every 4 years,
is that person going to be there?
is it going to be that good of a partnership?
Right.
Probably not. Any other questions you could think of that tie to vetting and making sure? I mean, the philosophy for sure.
Well, and what's if a customer does business with them, what's the turnaround time? What does the experience look like for the customer? if you're going to refer somebody, I have no problems referring somebody and say, look, they're really good, so they have a backlog, and they're not going to be able to handle this for you tomorrow. It might be a couple weeks, but they're worth the wait.
They're worth the wait.
Right,
That's
if they're
great,
that
man.
good. But if I don't know that, I'm not going to set that stage up front. I mean, you really need to know them, right?
So you can third-party credential the other person really well. You know, for example, if you said to somebody, hey, you know, I love what you just said. They're worth the wait. Hey, they may be a little bit more expensive than other people, but our other clients have really raved about them. They've done a great job. They're worth every penny. The seller can't always, maybe they can say that, but it's less believable than when it comes from someone else's mouth.
Well, it's that third-party conversation, right? It's that thing, who do people believe? And that's why referral partnerships work so well, is because it's coming from somebody else. And it's like, well, if I trust them, and if they're saying this about this other company or this other person, they have to be great because I trust them. So there's this huge benefit there when it's done right, because of that. I have made the mistake of referring people I had not vetted out, and they don't show up, or they show up and then they never hear from them again. And that part I don't understand. Like, how do you take the time to do a call and never put a bid in, never put a quote in, or say this scope of work is outside my realm, I'm sorry, I don't do it, and at least say no.
Yeah. Be upfront with
and be honest instead of just ghost them. We don't like to be ghosted. Why are we ghosting potential clients?
And it can happen.
Yeah, and it happens a lot.
I had a boss one time say to me about this topic, actually. He said, good things don't hurt. Good things shouldn't hurt. So if it's a good partnership, it should be easy, smooth, clean. Not to say that there's not going to be bumps, but what we've done together, there really haven't been anything that I can think of. Maybe you've got a list you're about to bring up.
Oh, yeah, real long. See, it's blank.
But you know, good things don't hurt or shouldn't hurt in that sense. It should be pretty painless in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I always said if it's round peg, round hole, it just works. If it's round peg, square hole, and you're trying to make it work for whatever reasons, it's not worth the effort.
It's not worth it.
It typically doesn't work out.
A good partnership. That's why sometimes people get forced into partnerships. Two companies merge, and they've got to refer each other as an example. Sometimes that doesn't go quite as planned for all the reasons. Here's one other I want to ask your opinion about, and I don't know that there's a right answer to this, so I'm very interested in your thoughts. And that has to do with compensation. So if someone refers something to somebody else or vice versa, I don't know, what's been your experience on should compensation go back and forth? Should it be a little or a lot? Our setup is takes care of itself.
Right.
But in other situations, if one person refers to somebody else, how should that go down from a compensation point of view, do you think?
I have mixed views on it. I think that if I'm referring you for your services and there's no need for you to refer to me, then, like, for instance, I do get paid referral fees from a HR software company that I refer clients to. And if the client buys, then I get a referral fee. I'm okay with that. It's one way. It's a nice little thing there, but it's one way. Is that big HR payroll company that does a really good job at user-friendly and does a good job at retaining employee records and helping with hiring, managing applications and stuff, are they going to refer me? They don't know who I am other than I refer them customers because I think their product is a great product. Okay. So is it okay for me to get some sort of referral on that? Sure. And I think that when it's a one-way deal, there should be something there for the referral.
Almost like an affiliate, in
affiliate type deal.
Yeah, affiliate links
exactly.
and the like.
But I think it depends on the partnership. I think that, if you referred me some pest control companies that needed coaching and I refer you salespeople that need sales training, it's like we just give and take. It's a total partnership. Do we need to? Hey, we're both making money here. We're helping each other out. Does it need to be there? I know there's some professions that they can't ethically take a referral fee, like realtors and some of those types of professions. They're not allowed to take a referral fee. Could you please give me the new homeowner so I could sell them pest control? They wouldn't do that. So we would do some things to make the realtor look good, but never did any referral fees for stuff like that.
Certainly needs to be talked about, I think, up front as a part of that qualifying process. As thinking about that, on our side, we have had a couple of relationships where, we've been upfront and disclosed it, but where we have received things back and forth, but namely because the other person that we were working with, who we liked and respected, they wanted to see it on their side. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And it actually worked very well. I think to me, I found that the best referrals and the best partnerships, if we send the person gift cards to their favorite restaurant or, something from Amazon or something that's personal, significant, and unexpected. Yes. I think, it's always a formula we use for gift giving. Yeah. I think those are almost more powerful relationships when it's not necessarily rooted in I'm doing this for the money. No, the intent is I'm doing it to serve the end user, the client, and each other. Right. I've found those to work better myself. Oh, yeah. And the unexpected is always like, what? Oh, my gosh, this is so cool. But they didn't have to do that. It's very unexpected. And so people appreciate those when they get them. Definitely, because I do the same thing. To me, it goes back to what you just said. It's to the benefit of the customer. If my customer can benefit from your services, that just makes me look good, which ingrains me better in that customer, where the customer is going to use me for more because they appreciate the value I bring, not just in myself, but in the other people I connect them with. Yeah. It's such a perfect way, if you're wired the right way as a seller, to bring people together. And one thing, again, someone could go out and go identify one person that they want to have this partnership with. There's another way to multiply that we've seen a lot of folks have success with, and that is get a group of people that are calling on the same customer and bring that group together. Now, that gets more complicated because now you've got multiple people and you got to have equal amounts of trust and all the above. But in the right circumstance, that also can be really powerful because a bunch of people are calling in. You see this happen in the real estate world as an example. We did that years ago. So we were active in BNI networking group. Their whole philosophy is, giver's gain. Giver's gain. And so, and that's how I kind of looked at partnerships and strategic partnerships. It's a giver's gain. The more I give, eventually I'm going to gain, and whether I'm gaining from the customer or gaining business from somebody else. BNI, as an example, then you have this situation where you've got a group of people that are together. They're usually calling on similar types of businesses, and they'll give and receive referrals back and forth. And that's a little bit manufactured, but still can be very effective. Yeah. So what we did in one of my BNI groups is there was a mortgage lender. There was a title company that was doing the closings, and there was myself, who had the pest control business that was doing the termite inspections for the closing, and then there was a home inspector. And so the four of us actually marketed together. Nice. And we actually had pieces that the mortgage person put in their packages for people who were coming to them for loans to market the title company, the pest control company, the inspection company. And then we marketed when we did WDOs, are termite inspections for real estate transactions. We would put that in our package to where it was given the inspector's name and the title company and the mortgage company if they hadn't gone, if they were still in that process. So we were all for marketing each other's services through our transactions, and because we all touched the same customer. And it's funny you're saying that, because in my B2B industrial world, we did the same thing for the line of industrial equipment that we were selling and manufacturing. We had a partnership with others, and we would share leads back and forth. So it can be done in a lot of different environments.
Yes.
Sometimes it's sort of a forced marriage, so to speak. Those are questionable sometimes. But the ones that fit and feel right, I think salespeople can go create those, put them together, be that networker, be that influencer to other salespeople that are calling on the same customer. One last thing that comes to my mind with that too, I've seen many situations where, let's say you have salesperson A and salesperson B calling on the customer. Salesperson B hears something that the customer would never say to salesperson A. Again, A and B are at different companies, but that salesperson B might just whisper in the ear of the other salesperson that they know. And that's such a valuable tool to have if you're well connected within an industry.
Because it's like, you can learn. The more you learn,
you're just plugged.
You plugged, and you kind of get that backdoor scoop of what's going on, right?
All kinds of reasons to go do this. And so with that said, Sheri, any final thoughts that you have with selling and all the above?
Yeah, so I think sales is a relationship business in general. And so it's not just the relationships we're trying to build with the customers, but I think that it's a relationship business that we're building with all kinds of people, because you never know who people know. And I think it's always interesting when you get to know, when you build these relationships and you get to know others that are outside your industry that you typically wouldn't care about type of deal, right? Because you're so focused on your own thing. But it's like, it's amazing how many people are out there that will go, oh, I didn't know you were looking for that. I didn't know you needed that. Oh my gosh, I know these people. Wait a minute. And they're giving you those leads and those connections, or that name of that person in that business that you've been trying to get your foot in the door to for years or whatever. And so it is a relationship business on all sides, and it's not what you know or who you know, it's who knows you. And the more people that know you and what you do, and the more connections that you make and the relationships that you build, the partnerships that you build, the more success you have.
I think that's wonderfully said. It really is wonderfully said. Maybe the last thing I'll throw in here is simply this. I think some people may look at themselves and say, well, that's not the personality that I have. That's not who I am. I can assure you, and I can assure those people, this is a learned skill.
Yes.
Yes, there might be people that are born with a little bit more of it than others, but that doesn't mean that someone who doesn't have that skill can't go develop it.
Yeah.
And it does benefit everybody, not just themselves, not just the other referral partner, but also the client.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
100%.
So glad we got to spend the time
Yeah, me
exploring
too.
this
It's fun.
and taking a deep dive on it.
Always good to have time with Mark.
It's the best. Well, thanks for taking the time and being on the show together today. And I look forward to our the next 18 years together.
There you
How
go.
about that?
Exactly. Me too. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. So, hey, I hope you've gotten a ton of value out of this episode. By far, it's our purpose to help people make money and have fun and have a good time. We're here to help improve your life, to help you make it easier to go sell or to manage your sales team, and ultimately to go build your own sales engine. Don't miss an episode. Best way to go do that is to make sure that you jump out to buildingyoursalesengine.com/follow, where you can link up to all of our latest episodes. For more information about this episode, go to buildingyoursalesengine.com, where you can download show notes, transcripts, and other information, including handouts and snapshots of this and other episodes. If you'd like to connect with us to talk about how we can help you build your sales engine, and you are either located in the state of Georgia or are referred to us by one of our clients or affiliated by one of our clients, please reach out to us at buildingyoursalesengine.com, where you can click there to book some time with us. We can find out how we can be of help with one another. If you're not in either of those two circumstances, please reach out to Sandler.com where you can find a Sandler office near you. Be well.